has the remembering of your different experiences of past lives, has that helped you find your soulmate?
Yeah, interesting question. So,
So it incorporate my question back.
Interesting question, Steve. About has it helped me finding my soulmate by remembering past life memories? You know, here's the thing about past life memories. It can help us connect with people that we may have been with before. No question about it. I've had lots of experiences like that with men and women in this lifetime who I remember being with in other lifetimes. Sometimes I remember the specifics of the relationship in the past. Sometimes I don't. But there's a knowingness, there's a recognition, there's a memory that we have been together before. And a lot of people have that kind of feeling, with people, even if they don't have past life memories. A lot of people have had that feeling. There's this connection there. There's this incredible connection with my close friends, or with a girlfriend or a spouse or whatever. But the thing is, to answer your question, is having all those memories like I do, and the clear awareness and recognition of those past life relationships that I've had with other people, my view of soulmates is a little bit different from what most people talk about in the dating books out there. That are, the plethora of them out there, that it's online, they're in libraries. So my view on that is that,
Can you say it?
my view on soulmates is that we have a lot of soulmates. So I consider, quite frankly, all those people I just described, men and women, who I have memories of having had prior relationships with in other lifetimes, as my soulmates. So looking at it through that lens, is there one that I should marry in this lifetime? I don't think necessarily. I think there's a fairly large or a number of possibilities there. And the bottom line for me, because I'm a pragmatist, you know me, I'm a pragmatic idealist at heart. That means I'm a practical guy. That means when I look at those memories that I may have in those relationships, I got to assess it today, on the ground, today, as Kelvin Chin in 2015. If I'm going to move forward in, let's say, a romantic relationship, which is what most people are thinking about when they're talking about soulmates, right? So I got to make the assessment now based on who she is with me now, even if I have a memory of us having been together in the past. Doesn't matter. I was thinking about this kind of in a serious and kind of a lighthearted way the other day, in a sense. If you think about it, let's say you, Stevie, have a memory of someone you were with in another lifetime. Let's say you were married to the person in another lifetime. 3 lifetimes ago, you were married to this person. And let's say you run into that person now, but you don't remember that you were married to this person in this other lifetime. But there's this recognition, there's this familiarity that's there. There's this definite connection. It's like, wow, what is that? Well, I think there's a soulmate kind of thing going on. There's a relationship, prior relationship, that's being recognized, often by both people, but at least by one person in this situation, let's say. Well, that doesn't mean that you drop everything and go marry that person. You've got to use your common sense. You've got to assess, because you might find out that 2 or 3 months or 5 years into the relationship, that's like, oh God, I remember now. I remember what I didn't like about her, 30 lifetimes ago or whenever it was.
Right.
That kind of thing.
And going back into the beginning, the initial attraction or the initial memory of, that was maybe this connection. How do you distinguish, once again, between a connection and just an attraction, physical, whatever, at the moment?
Yeah, it's a good question. How do you distinguish between a physical attraction in the moment and some really kind of longer term connection, right? So the way, first of all, there's no science to this, number one. First of all, there's no absolute right answer to that question. It's a great question, but who knows really? But what I use kind of as my yardstick to kind of gauge that, more or less, is the intensity of the emotional experience that I'm having. So if it's really, really intense, then it increases the probability. It's a probability issue. It's not absolute. It increases the probability that there's probably some other prior experience that's at play there. But again, we got to use our common sense in the here and now, in the today. I can't overemphasize that. But there's no magic absolute answer to that. You know, it's just, but you know, the strength of the emotional connection, I would say, and sometimes one might have, and I have had, explicit sensings, let's say, of a memory of past life without the specific details. In other words, I may not remember the specific details, but I may have a specific tangible sense, knowingness, something like that.
Give me an example of that tangible
So I've been with,
Here's an example.
oh, here's an example. Here's an example of that tangible knowingness. So, for example, I've been with a woman who I dated for a number of months, about a year or so, exclusively, and we had a fairly close relationship. That's the point, saying that. And at some point during that relationship, earlier on in the early weeks of that relationship, what came to me was some details of that past relationship. At first it came like a feeling, and then it developed into a stronger feeling, more like a stronger sense, and then kind of still somewhat abstract, kind of a knowingness. These are stages, but they're a little bit less abstract, a little bit more concrete, although still abstract. And then I had, I don't know what it was, a few months into the relationship, I had some specific memories that we had together, some visions, some visual experiences, some memories in that way, with some visceral other senses involved besides just sight. And so it kind of went in in stages like that. In that particular case, it can come in all different forms. It's not always the same way.